Morant with a running start. Elevate! Oh, it dunks! Oh, my goodness!
Tie game in overtime. Gasol will turn his heat. It's gone! Memphis on top. 7-10 remaining. Conley now with three. Count it! A 15-point lead for Memphis. And Blake Griffin gets into it on the floor with Randolph. Hard to tell if there are any punches being thrown under there, but Griffin took acceptance.
Adams going long. Morant! He hit it! Ja Morant! Insanity!
You gotta be kidding me.
Welcome to Grits and Grinds, a Memphis Grizzlies podcast. My name is Keith Parish. The Grizzlies did not get us the Thanksgiving present or the Thanksgiving gift that we wanted, which was a win over the Kings. They fell just short. We did get the return of Ja Morant, which was pleasant and unexpected. The morning of the game, he was upgraded from doubtful to questionable, and then he trended in the right direction all day before playing and played very, very well. So the loss to the Kings was unfortunate, but things without Ja Morant had looked so bleak that just getting Ja Morant back, just seeing the team play well, honestly, yeah, they did not make the three-pointers, and they missed a lot of free throws again, but the defensive effort was there. Ja Morant looked like himself. Jaren Jackson Jr. put together his second consecutive dominant game, where I think this loss stings maybe a little bit less than it could have. Not to say it doesn't hurt. I think we hoped with the return of Ja that would be enough to slow down a Kings team, which came into the game with 6 straight wins, but it was not. The Kings pick up their NBA best 7th straight win. They snapped the Grizzlies' 7-game win streak as a team over the Kings. The Grizzlies had beaten the Kings 7 straight times, maybe a more clear way to say that. For the second straight game, actually, the Grizzlies had a 7-game win streak over their opponent snapped, as they had beaten the Nets 7 straight games before losing on Sunday. A big issue in this game, and a big issue that has continued all season, is the inability to make three-pointers when Desmond Bane does not play. The Grizzlies only made 8 three-pointers. They hit 5 in the first quarter. So, do the easy math. 3 three-pointers over the final 3 quarters for the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies are now 1-5 when Desmond Bane does not play. In those games, they're only averaging 9.7 made threes per game, and they're making under 30% of their three-point attempts, 29.7 to be exact. The Grizzlies making 8 three-pointers against a Sacramento Kings offense, which had been clicking and playing well. The Kings outshot them from 3, 15-8. So that's plus 21 points on just three-pointers. And then, you highlight the free throw shooting. Again, you miss 11 free throws. Okay, one of those was on purpose, the last one. But 63% from the line, 27% from 3. It honestly feels remarkable that the Grizzlies had a chance to tie it with 1 second left, or a couple seconds left, with Ja Morant at the free throw line. I mean, if you watch the game, the reason they got back in it was just forcing turnovers. The Kings had 8 turnovers in the fourth quarter alone. And then Ja Morant went off in the final few minutes. Ja Morant scored 20 points in the fourth quarter. That's the highest scoring fourth quarter of Ja Morant's career. His first 20-point fourth quarter. If you remember, Desmond Bane had a 20-point fourth quarter earlier this season against the Trail Blazers. Dillon Brooks has a 20-point fourth quarter in his resume. Picked that up his rookie season against the Bulls. But Ja Morant kept coming on offense, and the Grizzlies kept forcing turnovers. I'll get to the last couple minutes in a second because there was a tiny bit of controversy the way that all went down. But when you take the big picture view and you look at this game, you can highlight just some of the similar issues that we've had all season. Getting outscored badly when the bench is out there. not making three-pointers when Desmond Bane doesn't play, and then missing the free throws. The Grizzlies are now 2-7 on the year when they make 12 or fewer three-pointers. By the way, making 12 three-pointers should be enough. Last year, they were virtually unbeatable when they made 12 three-pointers. But when they don't make threes, it's really hard for them to win right now. They're also 2-6 this season when they shoot 70% or worse as a team from the line. Doesn't take any rocket scientist to figure out it's hard to win when you're under 70% from the line and you're not knocking down your three-pointers. In the third quarter, where this one kind of got away from the Grizzlies, it was just the inability to make shots. Like, the defense played well. And again, if you want to take the positive takeaways, we're talking about how well Jaren Jackson Jr. looked. We can talk about how the Grizzlies slowed down one of the best offenses in the NBA. The Kings were, in fact, slowed down. They needed heroic shots from De'Aaron Fox in that third quarter to build their lead. Also, by the way, I think from an objective perspective, you could say De'Aaron Fox outplayed Ja Morant. Ja Morant finished strong. De'Aaron Fox had a lot of turnovers down the stretch, did not finish on a high note necessarily. But Ja had 34 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals. Then you compare De'Aaron Fox, 32 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists, 4 steals, and only 1 turnover. Jaren Fox also hit 5 three-pointers. Ja Morant had 5 turnovers. And the Kings, they light the beam. They get the win, despite the Grizzlies slowing them down just a little bit. But the third quarter, the Grizzlies scored 17 points in the third quarter. The bench in the third quarter scored no points. 0 points for Tyus Jones, David Roddy, Santi Aldama, and Brandon Clark. And they were getting fine looks. I mean, there was a stretch there where I thought the defense played really, really well, and the Grizzlies got good looks. Conchar missed 3 straight, just solid looks. 2 open threes. He missed 1 at the rim. And then on the other end, Harrison Barnes comes down, knocks down a 3-pointer at the shot clock buzzer, and it's a 14-point game. Even Dylan Brooks played well in this one. Dylan Brooks had 14 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists. Forced a lot of turnovers. Played some really solid defense. He definitely was a catalyst for the helter-skelter ending where the Grizzlies got back in it. The Grizzlies held the Kings to 49 points in the second half. The Grizzlies got 62 paint points. They got 26 assists. It's just hard to overcome those deficiencies we talked about. Also, if we're going positive or if we're going with positive takeaways or just looking at, some of the results of the game or reasons for how the Grizzlies lost, and you highlight those bench problems, the glass half full angle of that is the Grizzlies are looking really, really good with Jaren and Dylan out there. Jaren was a plus 15. Dylan was a plus 13. Jaren got 5 blocks to go with his 22 points. One game after the Grizzlies as the team had 0 blocks, Jaren comes out and gets 5. The team has 10. Already this season, when Jaren and Dylan are on the court in 137 possessions, the Grizzlies are plus 22.6 in net rating with Dylan and Jaren on the court. The defense is great. The Grizzlies are 12 points better on defense per 100 possessions when Jaren plays this season. Last year, they were 5 points better when he was on the court. So as long as this team gets healthy, as long as Desmond Bane gets back, it's just the same thing we keep saying. They're elite when healthy. When not healthy, it's hard to beat other solid teams. And the Kings are playing really, really well right now, obviously. When Bane comes back, when Zaire comes back, when Conchar, who played quite well once again, I'd say 3 straight really good games from John Conchar. When Conchar moves to the bench, it's going to be a lot easier. I know people are kind of piling on Roddy. It's very similar that a lot of people have pointed this out, and they're correct. I agree with it. It's very similar to last year when Zaire Williams played early in the season. He was not good. By the end of the year, he got solid. And now everyone's excited about his return this year. It's probably similar with Roddy and LaRavia. You just put them out there. You let them get the hands-on experience. It's a little bumpy at times. It'll get better. I'm pretty sure it will, at least. Right now, Roddy's part of a bunch of really terrible lineup combinations when you look at the net rating. The 4 worst 3-man lineup combinations in defense this year, all for the Grizzlies, all contain David Roddy. The worst 3-man lineups by net rating for the Grizzlies after 18 games, Ja and Tyus and Roddy, they're minus 30 in net rating. This is among all the player combinations on the Grizzlies that have played at least 60 minutes together. The next worst one is Tyus and Roddy and Conchar, minus 27. Tyus and Dylan and Brandon Clark, minus 26 net rating. Not going great with a lot of these. Also, there was a big play in this third quarter where it felt like the Grizzlies, they went up to being down. Actually, no, it was the second quarter where it felt like the Grizzlies were maybe playing pretty well. They had this 3-on-1 fast break that was Tyus and LaRavia and Brandon Clark, and it ended up being a turnover, turned into a 3-pointer for the Kings, and they went on a run. Yeah, it definitely was like a mark point of like, all right, that was a 5-point swing, and now things are going very, very poorly. I got to think it was probably, it was just weird spacing. Brandon Clark had a few weird spacing fast break plays on this one in transition where maybe he was in the right spot. Brandon's had a couple of not super great games in a row now after that tremendous game he played against the Pelicans. He's only had 10 points in the 3 games since then. By the way, the best 3-man lineups so far this year for the Grizzlies, based on net rating, the best one, John Conchar, Dylan Brooks, and Steven Adams. Maybe a little bit of a surprise there. Plus 24 net rating. Ja Morant, Dylan Brooks, and John Conchar, also plus 23. And again, you can probably put it together. These are probably overlapping minutes these guys played together. I can go ahead and assume that this, whatever 5-man lineup was on there, had Morant, Conchar, Dylan, and Steven Adams. By the way, that Morant, Conchar, and Dylan 3-man lineup is the one with the Grizzlies' best defensive rating. Ja, Dez, and Dylan, unsurprisingly, are plus 21 in net rating this season. Bane and Dylan and Steven Adams plus 20. Ja and Bane and Steven Adams plus 18. Again, none of these are surprising. The Grizzlies' best players playing together have put up good net ratings. Maybe Conchar's inclusion is the only one that's like a little bit eye-raising, but not really, because we know like Conchar, he delivers when he's in there, especially when he's not tasked with doing a lot. When he plays alongside other scorers like Ja and Desmond and Dylan, he can be an excellent 3rd, 4th, 5th piece. And throughout his career, he's posted some good net ratings and things when he is on the court. It's not going to be a super long episode. It's Thanksgiving break. We got places to go, family to see. But let's talk about the Grizzlies' final few minutes, and we will do that right after this quick break. Experience Big Memphis in a big way this December and take advantage of our 24-hour Cyber Monday sale presented by Ticketmaster. Starting November 28th at 9:01 a.m., terrace-level tickets for select December home games are up to 35% off. So set your reminder now and visit Grizzlies.com on Cyber Monday or text Buzzer Beater to 833-550-0028 to be the first to know. All right, so the last couple of minutes were absolutely wild. They were awesome. I love helter-skelter wildness basketball. I love it when the team with the lead starts kind of panicking and turning the ball over. So the Grizzlies were down by 11 late in this one, and Ja Morant hits this really, really deep 3-pointer at the shot clock buzzer, basically from the logo. On the next play, he tries maybe the most spectacular dunk he's ever attempted. Maybe not as high as ever, but the way he switched to the left hand, it was possibly going to be one of the more spectacular dunks of his career. He misses that one. But the Grizzlies keep applying this pressure. Ja keeps getting to the bucket, and eventually the Grizzlies go from down 11 to down 3 with the ball with 1 minute and 15 seconds left. It happened very, very quickly. where the Grizzlies were down double digits for, the whole fourth quarter. Then all of a sudden we have the ball down 3, single possession game, 75 seconds left. Ja Morant had been doing, work. So he attempted a step back 3-pointer. You don't feel bad about that. He missed it. It was a good look. In the scramble for the offensive rebound and the defensive rebound, Kevin Huerter definitely stepped out of bounds as he was saving the basketball. So that was a missed call that went against the Grizzlies. Then on that possession where the Kings have the ball, the Grizzlies foul. They're in the bonus. They foul for no reason. That's a mental mistake. There's over a minute left. You don't need to put Harrison Barnes on the foul line. Then a couple of possessions later, there's a strange call where it looked like it was going to be over and back on the Kings. Harrison Barnes and Dillon Brooks collide, and Brooks gets called for a foul. Harrison Barnes falls down. Seems like maybe he took a dive. He ends up on his back, catches the ball. I don't know what the correct call is going to be. Objectively, I think the officials maybe called that correctly, that contact with Dillon was significant enough to displace Harrison Barnes. Maybe he didn't need to fall down. I don't know what the last 2-minute report is going to say. I have to record these before the last 2-minute report is released. It'll be released on Wednesday afternoon. I'm assuming they're going to say that was the correct call. But then the Grizzlies, even after this, they force yet another turnover. And you get a breakout with Ja Morant. He gets a dunk. The Grizzlies are down 3 with 25 seconds left. They try and play for the steal and run it down to about 10 seconds left, which Pete and Brevin were like, that was too long. You waited too long to foul. I'm okay with it. You'd forced, up until that point, you'd forced 8 turnovers in the fourth quarter on the Kings. Man, go with the hot hand, which is forcing turnovers. I was all right with it. They end up fouling Sabonis with about, 10 seconds left. Sabonis splits his free throws. Morant goes down, gets it and one. 3-point play, cuts it to 1. The Kings then make both of their free throws when the Grizzlies foul. But, we still have a chance. We're down 3 with the ball. The Grizzlies win the final 6 minutes with only 1 timeout, and they finally use it to advance the ball with a few seconds left, down 3. And Ja Morant attempts a 3-pointer. Jaren Fox gets called for a foul, a 3-shot shooting foul. Now, I want you guys to know I'm honest with you. I don't know what the last 2-minute report is going to say when it comes out this afternoon. I think it was a horrible call. A terrible call on De'Aaron Fox. I don't think De'Aaron Fox touched him anywhere. Not on the body, not in his landing space, definitely not on his arms. There was no contact whatsoever up top. Ja Morant does not land on De'Aaron Fox's feet. Ja Morant lands on the ground and falls down on purpose. I don't think De'Aaron Fox ever touched him. There is not in the NBA, you can't slide up under, you have to allow the guy to land. But if the guy lands, it's not like you have to allow him 6 inches of space or anything. As long as you don't hit him, there's no foul. I don't think De'Aaron Fox hit him whatsoever. Maybe there's an angle that I haven't seen yet that shows De'Aaron Fox fouling Ja Morant. I'll be curious to see what the last 2-minute report says. But for me, if the situations were reversed and Dillon Brooks gets called for a foul on De'Aaron Fox in that situation, I know for a fact all of you guys would be losing your minds. I think that was an egregiously bad call that the Grizzlies benefited from. Now, Kings fans can be relaxed and rest easy that it didn't cost them the game, where they've actually had multiple games. I would think it's fair to say cost because of official mistakes on the last 2-minute report. There was a buzzer beater that caused them to lose the game where the last 2-minute report said the other team traveled. There was a play where they were down 3 and Kevin Huerter got fouled by Klay Thompson and they didn't call it. So I think the Grizzlies got the benefit of the whistle on that one. But Ja Morant misses the first free throw. Again, free throws. It's the problem. It's a huge problem for the Grizzlies. Last in the NBA in free throw percentage. He makes the second one, and then on the third one, he misses it on purpose, but there's a lane violation. And as Ja Morant goes into the lane too soon. I wish Ja Morant had trusted Steven Adams. Steven Adams is arguably the greatest free throw offensive rebounder in NBA history. I don't think Ja needed to go into the lane so quickly. just missed the shot. Trust that Steven Adams or Ja himself would be able to get there. But Ja doesn't come through on the foul line, despite his 20-point fourth quarter. And the Kings get a huge win. I mean, it's a huge win for the Kings. It's a tough loss for the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies will have a chance to bounce back. Friday night, they host the Pelicans. I assume many of you guys are going to the game. Should be an awesome one. Will the Grizzlies make enough three-pointers? I don't know. I hope so. The fact that Ja is back gives me hope. The fact that the Grizzlies defense is getting better and better and better, gives me a lot of hope. Sure, they're 20th in the NBA in steals, despite all the turnovers they forced in the fourth quarter of this one. I mean, Aldama was getting steals. Tyus getting a bunch of steals. It was an exciting game, but a difficult loss. And, we're in that damage control without Desmond Bane. We thought we were going to be in a longer damage control with no Bane and also no Ja, but now that Ja's back, hopefully they won't struggle as much. But, the Pelicans are good. And then you got to play the Knicks. The Knicks are actually playing pretty well. Tough little stretch here. You play the Timberwolves and Sixers after that, I believe. So there's no easy nights right now for the Grizzlies. And then as we get closer to the holiday season, the Grizzlies go on these road trips against Nuggets, Warriors, of course, Christmas Day game, all that stuff. It's going to be a challenge, but I think the Grizzlies are up for it. Anyways, I appreciate you listening to the show. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Search for Grits and Grinds and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hope you guys have an awesome Thanksgiving. Appreciate you guys listening as always. Talk to you soon. Go Grizz.